Hi first grade friends! This week we started talking about visualizations and how our brain makes mental images as we read to help us understand our stories. Now if you weren't with me in small groups, then this might be your first time hearing about that. So we're going to practice today making a visualization or a mental image when I read you a story. I'm going to read you a fiction story today about a character, an animal hedgehog. And this book is written by one of my favorite authors, Jan Brett. Before I read the story to you, I'd like you to get out your red notebook, because what we're going to do today is something really special. You're going to practice using your brain to draw a mental image as I read. So when I read you some details, you're going to use your pencil and you're going to draw what comes to your mind. What are you thinking about? What are you hearing from the story? What details come to your mind? Your mind actually makes this cool movie happening in your brain while you're listening to a story. You might hear sounds that are happening in the story. You might smell things. You might notice things in your mind. Your mind might see colors and other details that you heard from the words. So you might hear sounds. Certain sounds. Your brain plays a movie while you're reading in your mind, and that's pretty neat. So today we're going to practice a visualization. You're going to find a blank page in your red notebook, and as I'm reading this story to you, you're just going to use your pencil to draw quickly what comes to your mind. And a few times throughout the story, I'm going to push pause and let you add some details to your visualization picture. Now don't worry about the colors right now. You're just going to write what comes to your mind as you're listening to a story. Okay? So I'm going to share with you a few of the pages, and then when I get to these yellow tabs, I'm going to push pause, and you're going to push pause, and you're going to draw your mental image, and then push play again. This story is fiction, and it's called The Snowy Nap by Jan Brett. Talks about hedgehogs, and we know hedgehogs hibernate in the winter time, but this story is fiction. So remember, have your pencil ready and your white paper ready to start drawing an image that comes to your mind. I'm going to read you some pages and show you some pictures, and then we'll pause a few times for you to write your own details. Young Hedgie sniffed the chilly wind. Snow is on the way, he thought. I'll just take a last ramble around the farm. He did not want to miss a moment. He could barely keep his eyes open as he walked. The hens noticed at once. Time for Betty Bye, they cackled. It won't be long before you have to hibernate, and our coop will be bedazzled by icicles. In a sleepy daze, Hedgie trundled past the pond. The geese honked, "Goodbye until spring. We'll think of you as we play slip and slide across the pond ice. It is already starting to freeze." The hedgehog is beginning to feel left out. Okay, on this page, it's time for you to listen and write, draw what you hear and what your mind is picturing. So I'm going to only read this page, and I'm not going to show you the picture of this one. And then I'm going to give you some time to add your details. Hedgie came to the sheep shed. "Nighty-night," the sheep baaed. One of the sheep had seen hedgehogs on the farm head for their cozy dens year after year as winter arrived. She also was ready to tell Hedgie what he would miss. I'll soon see the snowman Lisa makes," she said. Pause your video and draw, and then push play. The billy goat overheard and crunched across the frozen field to add, "As usual, you will miss winter blue time when the sun sets and the snowy farm appears in every shade of blue." This is the mental image of the illustrator, Jan Brett. The pig watched Hedgie stop for a big yawn. "Have a good winter's sleep," she oinked. "If only I could save a few snowflakes for you. No two are alike." Here's another page where I'm going to just read it to you and you draw your details. Add to the picture that you have. When the pony trotted up, Hedgie guessed what he wanted to say. "Sleep well," he neighed. "If you hear bells in your dreams, it will be me pulling my sleigh." That was the last straw. "I don't want to sleep all winter like last year," protested Hedgie. "I want to see icicles and snowmen, snowflakes and pond ice. I want to hear bells, sleigh bells." Push pause, add your details, and then push play. Before Hedgie could yawn again, he decided to turn around and stay up for the winter. The night grew frosty cold. Must stay awake, must stay awake, must stay awake to see winter. Hedgie shivered and his eyes closed. From the farmhouse window, Lisa saw a still shape outside in the cold. "Poor little hedgehog is frozen stiff," she cried. She bundled him up and brought him inside. Here's the mental images of the author. Were you picturing some of those things too? Him being stiff on the ground, not moving. Lisa put Hedgie in a tea cozy and gave him a spot by the window. "That was a close call," she said. "A snowstorm is on the way. You'd better stay in the house and warm up." To Hedgie's delight, the next morning he saw the world outside shimmering with snow. The old chicken coop sparkled like a palace. Okay, here's another page where you're drawing your details. Every day he watched from different windows and new wintry scenes appeared. The pond froze into a shiny mirror. Lisa twirled on her skates as the goose and the gander slid to keep up. So what are you picturing there? Can you imagine geese on a pond, slipping and sliding? Lisa in her ice skates. Push pause and then push play when you're ready. To Hedgie's amazement, one day Lisa rolled great balls of snow. Before he knew it, he was looking at the first snowman. He was getting sleepier, but each morning held a new surprise. The little hedgehog was dozing when he heard the tinkling of bells. He tried with all his might and opened his eyes. There was the pony pulling a sleigh. Lisa made a snowball and tossed it in his direction. Kapoof! Hedgie slept later every day. One day he awoke to see flowers of frost decorating his window. The trees looked like lace against the sky. "I have truly seen winter," was Hedgie's last thought as he nodded back to sleep. Okay. Lisa knew it was time. Leaving the door ajar, she cradled the little hedgehog. "You belong in the wild," she whispered in his ear as she carried him through the drifts. She crouched by his burrow and nestled him inside. "Sweet dreams, little adventurer." Just then she noticed the front door was swinging on its hinges. Squawks and rumbles were coming from inside. This next page, I'm going to ask you to draw your mental image when you listen to the words. What's happening in your mind? You might need to have a new space or a new paper to write this one, to draw this one. Lisa peered through the doorway and saw animals, higgledy-piggledy, making a commotion in her house. Each one was thinking, "I'll see winter from a nice warm house." "Out, out, out, skedaddle," she laughed. "Don't you know this is not where you live?" Commotion in her house, and she lives on a farm. What do you think might be happening inside her house? What kind of things are happening in your mind? What do you see? What do you hear? Go ahead and draw. Push pause. Did your picture, your mental image look anything like this? All the animals scattered about, causing a commotion. I thought it was a nice idea to come inside where it was warm. Lisa was shooing the last mouse from the house as Hedgie, snug in his burrow, fell into a deep sleep. He was dreaming about icicles and snowmen, snowflakes and pond ice. It was a long, snowy nap. And there he is, hibernating. Okay, now that you've practiced a little bit about visualization, I can't wait to see a picture of your drawing. So on the next slide, post a picture of your drawing, and after the story's done now, you can add color to it if you'd like before you post it. And I'm looking forward to hearing all about your visualization, what your brain did to give you a mental movie as you were listening to this book.